Former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright says countries must work together in order to stop the coronavirus. The first woman to lead the State Department says working separately will only do more damage. In her new book, Hell and Other Destinations, she writes about her whirlwind career and why retirement has never been an option. She joins us from her home in Washington, D.C. Madam Secretary, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
You wrote in an op-ed piece in Time magazine that the world needs a coordinated, decisive response to the virus. But we're having trouble getting states they're competing just to buy medical supplies with each other. How do we create a global, coordinated response to this?
Well, I think it's absolutely essential because the virus knows no boundaries, and it's not easy. I think that as I write in my book, I talk a little bit about World War II and what happened afterwards, and I think we need to figure out a way to strengthen our international system. I know that there are people who don't like the word globalization, but it's not a four-letter word. I think that what we need to do is figure out how we can help each other because, as I said, the virus doesn't know borders. And I've talked about the fact that people and institutions in the 70s need a little refurbishing, and the UN is at its 75th anniversary, and we need to be supportive of it and get our act together. What I find interesting is that there's stories today, actually, about the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank talking about how they can be helpful in other countries because that is the place that is now, in many ways, under the most threat because they don't have the systems to deal with this. And so I think we have to work with each other and not see things as zero-sum games.
You write in the book that still almost every day you imagine yourself in your successor's shoes as head of the State Department. If you were Mike Pompeo today, what would you be doing?
Well, I would remember that the main job of the Secretary of State is diplomacy, that diplomacy requires you to put yourself into the other country's shoes, into the other people's shoes, and try to find some kind of compromise solutions. I'm hoping very much that we're not quite clear how much he is traveling or what he's doing, but I do think that that is the main job of Secretary of State. And then I have to say I'm deeply troubled by the kinds of things I've been hearing that have been going on in the State Department because you can't do diplomacy without diplomats, and the people in the department I found to be very smart, very dedicated, and I'm very troubled that we're not really keeping a lot of them and defending them, frankly. So that's what I would be doing.
Do you think there's any security risk to reopening the country before we really get a handle on the crisis?
Well, I do think that from everything that I've seen is clearly the sheltering and the lack of contact, social distancing in the United States has made a difference. And I think that we shouldn't really be overly eager to open up again until we are clear about what the whole testing issue is and how we are working together. And I do know that there are kind of arguments going on at the moment about who's really in charge. You really need especially when you have a variety of issues on health programs and on helping small businesses, the central government, our government, does have a role. There's no question about it. But I think we need to also understand those that are closer to the people, the governors and the mayors, and to really coordinate. I have several mottos. I mean, I believe in resiliency, I believe in optimism, and I believe in working together. And that's what we have to be doing as we look forward.
All right, Madam Secretary, thank you so much for being with us. Hell and Other Destinations is on sale today.